I'm coming at you today from Istanbul in Turkey. I'm just in my hotel room, and this one's a quick one because I just want to share with you a casting tape that I submitted to my agency this week, where they wanted me to talk about veganism and how veganism is helping the planet and why I'm vegan. So it was a bit of an unusual one because usually casting tapes are just like, you know, as you guys saw in the casting tape that I submitted for this job that I uploaded like a couple of weeks ago, usually dancing in your bikini, show your personality, show your profile, you know, put your hair up, hair down. Sometimes I'll ask you to read a script. So yeah, it was interesting to talk about something that's like so close to my heart. So it's just been an interesting manifestation for me because I set the intention out, well, maybe not this year, maybe actually quite a while ago, but this year it's really coming into fruition now, that I wanted to align myself more with like brands that have a message or whose values align with my own. And if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that in Bali I worked a lot for like a lot of sustainable brands, and I created content for different sustainable brands, and I modeled for several like vegan and sustainable brands, like Hanley Swan and Bava, who do the vegan shoes and stuff like that. So yeah, it was just great to be, I mean, I don't know what the job is and what it's for and whether I've been optioned for it. But yeah, I just want to share that casting tape with you. And yeah, it was interesting as well because the night before I flew to Turkey, I went to the first social for Model Mafia. Now, if you haven't heard of Model Mafia, and I mentioned it in the casting tape, Model Mafia was, it's an organisation that was founded by Anggoro and Cameron Russell, who are two models and activists. I will put a link in the description box below to Cameron Russell's TED Talk. You might have seen it already, it went viral. And Cameron in particular has like a really big platform that she uses to raise awareness about environmental issues, about sustainable fashion. During the Me Too movement, she coined the hashtag "My job should not include abuse," and she published a lot of stories from models talking about abuse in the industry. It was mostly mostly sexual abuse, but then there was also a lot of talk about the financial abuse that happens in the industry that is kind of like the background to all of this sexual abuse, because I think a lot of people, if they don't understand how the industry actually operates and how much agency young models actually have, which is not very much at all, or hasn't been up until recently with social media now, giving models a platform and a voice, it's been very difficult for models to stand up for themselves because there's so much economic exploitation that happens. So Model Mafia was kind of set up to kind of deal with that issue, give models a community where they can come together, talk about their issues, to help empower them, but also to help them and empower them to use their platforms and use their voice, because obviously models tend to have good social media followings, to use their platforms to be change makers and to activate change in lots of different areas, whatever it is that they're passionate about. So at this meeting I got to meet so many models, some of them pretty young, like in their 20s, who are doing so many incredible, inspiring things, you know, doing like running businesses where they do workshops, you know, talking about mental health or, you know, financial empowerment and all kinds of issues. Like, you know, one model had set up a company that's supposed to provide an antidote to very expensive and overpriced model apartments that agencies tend to put models into. They'll put like 5 girls in a room and charge them like above market rent, and it's kind of very exploitative, but it kind of helps the agency cover their business costs and their rent. So, you know, all of those kinds of things go on in the industry, and Model Mafia is kind of there to step in. So yeah, if you're a model and you're in London and you want to join the London chapter, then I'll put a link in the description box below to the Instagram that you can send them a DM on Instagram or you can send me a DM on Instagram and send me your email address and your WhatsApp, and we can add you to the list. So yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna go have breakfast now. I've got a fitting today, and then I think we've got the rest of the day off. So I'm gonna explore Istanbul with the other model who's here called Nadia. So yeah, I'm gonna have a great time, and I hope you do too. All right, peace out, and the casting tape will be after the dump. All right, bye. Hi, it's Sandal, and yeah, you asked me to talk about veganism. So yeah, for me, being plant-based vegan is about living in alignment with universal law principles. So that's also referred to in some traditions as moral law or karmic law or cause and effect consequentialism. So it's just the idea that if you operate outside of the boundary conditions of free will, then there will be negative consequences. So violating the bodily autonomy of an animal will have negative consequences on your body, and we see that, you know, with the illnesses and disease that gets manifested in the human body from eating animal products. You know, the China study has looked at the link between animal protein and cancer. There have been lots of studies on nutritionfacts.org that talk about the links between consuming animal products and diabetes, heart disease, you know, lots of different issues. So we also see on a macro level the consequences of the animal agriculture industry with the environmental destruction. So it's the #1 cause of ocean dead zones. It's the largest contributor to Amazon deforestation. It's the largest contributor to climate change. So for me, being vegan is just about kind of minimizing my impact when it comes to these issues and living more in alignment with, you know, just the natural human lifestyle, which, you know, we've become very disconnected from as we live in cities. In terms of organizations, so I have volunteered for PETA. I used to do lots of demos, and I volunteered in their offices. I've also worked with an organisation called Envision, which is about helping young kids, inspiring young kids to get involved with like environmental projects and other kind of change making and community building projects. And also I am just about to head out right now to the first ever London meeting of Model Mafia, or also known as Model Activist on Instagram, the Model Activist, which was founded by Anggoro and Cameron Russell. And it's basically just about encouraging models to, firstly it's building community for models and empowering them in their own careers, but it's also about using our platforms to kind of be change makers and, just speak about things that we're passionate about, activating change in lots of different areas. So it can be anywhere from like mental health issues to body image, to environmental issues, to animal rights. So lots and lots of varied topics there. So if you'll excuse me, I will just head to that now. All right, thanks for listening.
You're introduced to LSD, and unless you've taken some other drug, like for instance, like marijuana or something, well, it's an altogether new thing. And you actually can have a religious experience